The Shift is brought to you by SE Healthcare. Welcome to The Shift. I'm Dr. Andrea Coyle. Welcome back, Shifties, to the next The Shift podcast. It's a really exciting month. November is the 25th anniversary of the Daisy Foundation, and we're celebrating big here at SE Healthcare and on the Shift podcast. And this month, what we've decided to do is we kicked it off with Bonnie Barnes, the co-founder of the Daisy Foundation, and now we're meeting with incredible Daisy honorees. And just for you folks out there listening, I'm also a Daisy honoree. It really helped me shift how I thought about things. And I'm thrilled and excited to bring along Allison Eastman from Connecticut Children's, and she's a Daisy honoree. First of all, Allison, just do a quick introduction, and then I'm going to read your nomination.
Thank you so much for having me. So my name is Allison Eastman. I am the nursing manager of the Central Staffing Office at Connecticut Children's. I've been a nurse for about 15 years at this point, which seems like such a long time. And I have had the pleasure of working in an adult hospital and then transitioned to Connecticut Children's just over 8 years ago. And I've loved working here. I worked as a staff nurse, and then I worked as a nursing operations leader, a team lead, and now I'm in the role of nursing manager of the Central Staffing Office, and had the privilege of receiving the Daisy Leader Award this year from Connecticut Children's. And I am so excited to be here with you today.
I'm so excited to have you. And I did mention I'm a Daisy honoree, and I also received the Daisy Leader Award. I was the Professional Excellence and Magnet Program Director. So we're going to talk about how it helped shift how we think about things and how exciting it was. But congratulations to be here. I'm going to share the nomination, and I'm thrilled to do this. Allison has truly changed the entire Central Staffing Office when she became our manager. Allison was born a leader and slowly transitioned into leadership over the last few years in taking over as bed manager. In the years following, Allison took on a lead position in the CSO, and there she really started to shine. While working as both bed manager and lead, Allison took on the role of being our leader. When the position opened for the CSO manager, I know I speak for a lot of us, but we prayed she would apply. Allison really picked up the CSO in a time of change. She was dedicated, consistent, caring, and supportive of each and every one of us. She cares more than anyone I've met about her team, and it shows in the team's dedication. And with her support, we are becoming stronger than ever. In the year following Allison's transition to the manager, she has contributed to mentor, support, and empower our team of new leaders. We appreciate her and all she has done this year and continues to do for us all. I have to tell you, it's a really great nomination, Allison. How did it feel? Were you surprised when you received the award?
I was. I didn't see it coming. And to be honest, I was at a point in my leadership journey where I hadn't been in the role for a year yet. And even though I was pouring myself into it, I wasn't sure if it was enough, or if what I was doing for my team and the heart that I had for my team was translating in the way that I hoped it would. So by being recognized by my team as a Daisy nurse leader honoree was the boost of confidence I needed to shift my perspective as a nursing leader. It was exactly the right time, and it really helped me build the confidence that I needed and allowed me to take a minute to reflect on what was going well and lean into those things, lean into mentoring my leaders that were on my team, lean into the programs and initiatives that we were doing, lean into all of those times when I thought I was making the wrong choice by spending time at the bedside connecting with a team member instead of responding to an email or jumping on a meeting, and clearly what those things were working. And so getting recognized in such a meaningful way really did shift my perspective and help me push away any imposter syndrome that I had. The ceremony itself was so special. I had gotten a meeting request on my calendar bright and early in the morning to meet with my chief nursing officer. And then in came the chief nursing officer along with our magnet manager, my director, and and representatives from all of the different nooks and crannies of my team. I had night shift team members, day shift team members that came in from home, all to present me with this award. I cried, but it was honestly one of the most meaningful ways to be recognized, and was a huge turning point for me in this leadership journey.
I love when you say it helped build your confidence. So I want to remind all the shifties quickly why we call ourselves the shift, and why we started to have this podcast. I've been a nurse for 30 years. And so together, you and I have been nurses for 45 years, which is unbelievable. Um, it actually came from burnout that I was suffering. I felt like I was burning out right before the pandemic. And then the pandemic took the burnout to a whole different level. And I thought to myself, first of all, many nurses, when you work night shift, day shift, weekend shift, evening shift, whatever the case may be, we work shifts. So I thought about shifts that way. But then I thought a shift is when you change direction, you change position, you change tendency, maybe you change location. And when you change that location, it could be a spiritual location, an intellectual location, it could be a physical location. And that's where we came up with the Shift podcast. And the intention of this whole podcast is to highlight the incredible profession of nursing, and then highlight all these meaningful moments. So the Daisy Foundation has done an incredible job of helping nurses recognize that meaningful moments matter. It has helped people that write the nomination create meaningful moments for someone else. So it's almost like paying it forward. Talk to me a little bit about how Connecticut Children's continues to ensure that meaningful moments captured by nurses are shared. So tell me more about your Daisy program.
I love that Daisy is a part of Connecticut Children's. It's so exciting to read our Nursing Connections newsletters or travel to all of the different units and see the banners hanging. I'm wearing my pin on my shirt today, but Daisy nominees and Daisy honorees wear their pins proudly on our badges. And so Daisy is just bringing joy throughout the organization. So our Daisy nominations are all processed through our PACE Council, which is our Professional Advancements and Certifications and Engagement Council. It's chaired by one of our PACU nurses. Shout out Julie from PACU. The council reviews all those nominations, and every quarter is able to select 3 nurses across the organization that they vote on. They're blind votes, so they don't specifically know who they're voting for, but just the nomination. And then they're able to create these meaningful ways to celebrate those Daisy honorees. They invite the patient and the family to come to the ceremonies, invite all the team that's working with them, people who have mentored them. We like to do it on the unit at a huddle, or so that everybody can be involved. We have the cinnamon buns. We have they get presented with the beautiful statues. The person who nominated them, whether it's the patient or the family, gets to read the nomination to them. There's always tears. And then afterwards, the excitement of looking at all of the benefits to the honorees. And I think I have found that most people who have been nominated or honored as a Daisy, then their mission is to make sure other people are also honored and nominated, whether it's talking up to a patient family. Hey, I saw that you had John today as your nurse. He's fantastic. They hear a special story that 6-year-old told about John taking care of them. And then they're able to say, hey, so here on the TV here in your Get Well Network, this is how you can nominate John for a Daisy Award. And then if he gets it, we'll bring you back and you can help us celebrate. And so it's really passing that on. I really loved what you said about meaningful for team members to encourage others and recognize other people. I think that at Connecticut Children's, both with Daisy and other awards and recognitions we have, I think that's been so powerful for us in creating a culture of kindness, a one team culture that really is shifting everyone away from focusing on the negatives or the frustrating things and on what are we doing well, what can we celebrate. And so then as far as the Daisy Leader Award goes, it's also done quarterly here, picked by our director and our CNO group. And so there are a group of us who have been honored, and I am so excited because I nominated one of the leaders that's on my team for a Daisy Award in the future. So I'm excited to see if she is selected because I again want to pass it on.
I love what you said, Allison. We could go back and forth. We could just like all talk about Daisy stories. Well,
Yeah.
first of all, I am confident that Bonnie and Mark Barnes are probably watching this, and Mark Barnes is probably going to have my head because I don't have my Daisy pin on. And I'm going to beg for his forgiveness and beg for his grace because there's as you can see, I'm not in my office. I had to travel and it's in my other bag. I changed bags.
Oh, no.
So please give me some grace. And typically when I film this, my Daisy Award, much like yours, is in the background. So Mark, please have grace on me. I'm sorry. But I think it's this community that Mark and Bonnie and the Daisy Foundation has done such an incredible job of. And when I say community, I mean global community. I've done some work in the Philippines. I've done some work in the Middle East and Saudi Arabia. And I mean, the Daisy Awards everywhere. And I think when you become an honoree, you almost, it's like you're obligated to continue to pass on these meaningful moments in this great community. And when you talk about negativity, I like to talk a lot about positive psychology. And there's something called PERMA, and each letter is an acronym, but the R stands for recognition. And the Daisy Foundation has taken that to a whole new level, and it's meaningful recognition. And the AACN has that as an evidence-based pillar as well.
I love it. I even think just hearing from the perspective of the patient, understanding, especially working in pediatrics, hearing children share about why a caregiver meant so much to them is so impactful because it's not always to them the medication that they received on time or the skill in which they had a procedure done. It's this nurse played a game with me. This nurse explained something to me, and we made a silly song every time we had to do my central line dressing.
Okay, we typically end these, Allison, with 3 takeaways. And the takeaways can be what the Daisy Award meant to you, already said, or being a Daisy honoree meant to you. You already mentioned the confidence piece, which when we've met and spoke before, that just really resonated with me. What are a couple other takeaways? And then sometimes I chime in and sometimes I'll just let you take the mic, but you go.
So I think meaningful recognition is so empowering. I think one thing that came to mind in reflecting on it is starting early, especially with nurses when they're new grads. I had the opportunity of being recognized as a Nightingale honoree when I was a new grad, and I can't even tell you how much that shifted my perspective of myself, my confidence, allowed me to network, got me connected to be able to do shared governance, professional governance so early on in my career that really led me all the way here. So I would say connecting with nurses, providing meaningful recognition right from the get-go. I think secondly, it doesn't have to be huge. While Daisy is fantastic and nominating someone for a Daisy is great, whether it's a leader or a clinical nurse or a non-nursing partner, I think that it's those little ways of saying thank you, or I saw that, or I noticed that growth. I have this plaque in my office. It says, even a small bit of joy has the power to lift big things, or in this case, a small bit of joy has the power to shift big things for our
I love it. Oh my God, you know the assignment. You
right.
know the assignment. I love it.
So even just a little thank you, a note, we have a treasure chest here in our office space that my staff hall has access to. Give a gift card to somebody to Starbucks for $5 because they went the extra mile for a patient or for another team member. And I think lastly, spend time listening. Meaningful recognition means something different to everyone. So how I want to be recognized by my leaders or by my team can look different from someone else. So sometimes meaningfully recognizing someone can mean giving them a challenge, saying, I see this in you. Will you partner with me on this project or join this committee? And so that you're saying, I believe in you. I want to mentor you and I want to give you this opportunity. And that can be sometimes more powerful than a thank you note or a certificate or a shout out in the newsletter or anything like that.
Those are 3 nuggets. I'm going to leave with 1 nugget. I have 1 nugget. I believe creating a ritual of recognition is very important. When I was the magnet program director, they asked me to be an interim nurse manager. And I was on a unit that really needed to lift and shift. And we committed, and I say we, but really it was their shared governance, committed that every single month they would nominate 1 person for the Daisy. And can I tell you, it was like wildfire, and that unit went on to have 3 Daisy winners. We actually had a patient who had cancer, who was getting chemo, that wrote the most incredible nomination about a nurse, and he was unable because of his chemo treatments, but he actually called into the unit. We put him on speakerphone during the whole Daisy during the whole Daisy ceremony. It was amazing. So the takeaway is taking time for things that are important matter, and a ritual of recognition is really important. So those are the takeaways to everybody. Again, congratulations, Daisy. So proud, 25 years. Thank you so much, Allison. You're going to get invited back to the shift because you have all this great energy. Shifties out there, remember this: your shift makes a difference. Enjoying the shift? Help us reach more nurse leaders by rating and reviewing us on your podcast app. It takes just a minute, but makes a big impact. Search for The Shift, tap those stars, and share what you love. Your feedback shapes our future episodes and helps others discover us. Remember, rate, review, and amplify The Shift today.